Welcome to your channel Skytech-Lens. Let's talk about Japanese cars, Toyota, Honda, Nissan. For decades they've been as American as baseball and backyard barbecues, but now, a storm is brewing: tariffs. In late 2024, the US government slapped a 10% tariff on Japanese auto imports. By May 2025 that's jumped to 25% on both cars and parts. Why? Officially it's about stalled trade talks and Japan's rice market. Yes, rice. This isn't just a policy debate, it's a high-stakes game of chicken with a July 9th deadline. President Trump has called Japanese imports unfair, threatening even harsher penalties. Markets are panicking. Japanese auto stocks have dropped over 21% in a year. Automakers' profits are plummeting. The argument? That Japan is taking advantage of the US market. But Japanese companies have spent decades building cars, designing cars, and employing hundreds of thousands of Americans right here. This isn't us versus them, it's us versus a policy that could hurt us all. We're weeks away from seeing just how much damage this could do. Buckle up. What does a 25% tariff mean for you? Higher prices? Up to $4,400 more per car. That's a family vacation, a new appliance, or a year's worth of groceries gone. Even the threat of tariffs is raising prices. Toyota's already bumped up costs by $270 per vehicle. Automakers run on razor-thin margins. They can't absorb these costs, so you pay. Japanese brands make up 44% of the US light vehicle market. Over 6 million cars sold last year, with more than half built in America. Models like the Honda CR-V and Toyota RAV4 are staples for millions. A sudden price hike would shock the market and push many families out of the new car market entirely. The ripple effect? Lower consumer confidence, less spending, and a risk of economic downturn. The Congressional Budget Office warns this could drop consumer confidence by up to 8 points. All this from a tariff meant to help American industry, but it might just hurt American consumers most. It's a cure worse than the disease. The real cost? Everyone pays more, and the economy suffers. Is it worth it? The price tag is just the start. The real cost is jobs. Japanese automakers directly employ over 96,000 Americans in manufacturing, and support over 500,000 jobs nationwide. In some states, they account for up to 22% of all factory employment. A single plant can be the economic lifeblood of a town. If tariffs force shutdowns, the Urban Institute estimates over 500,000 jobs could vanish. Honda and Toyota alone operate 18 US plants, with more on the way. In some communities, a plant closure could spike unemployment by 30% overnight. The fallout? Families lose homes, main streets shutter, and local economies collapse. The federal government would feel it too. Tax revenues could drop by $62 billion over 3 years. A policy meant to protect jobs could destroy them instead. It's not just numbers, it's real people, real communities, and real futures at stake. The consequences would echo for decades. Is this the protection we want? A car isn't just metal and wheels, it's tens of thousands of parts, sourced globally. The supply chain is a marvel, but it's fragile. Tariffs hit not just finished cars but imported parts, engines, electronics, transmissions. That could double the cost of key components overnight, threatening nearly 200,000 American supplier jobs. Ironically, Japanese automakers use a high percentage of US parts, 72% in a Kentucky-built Camry, 68% in an Ohio Accord. These are American cars, built by American workers. Tariffs would punish companies for integrating into the US economy, hurting the very suppliers they're supposed to protect. Experts call it reverse industrialization. A rapid decline in manufacturing because suppliers can't adapt. The auto supply network is worth $1.3 trillion. Disrupt it, and decades of progress vanish. The supply chain wouldn't just bend, it would snap. And rebuilding it? Nearly impossible. The damage would ripple far beyond the factory floor. One policy could break an entire ecosystem. There's another casualty in this trade war: the environment. Japanese automakers lead the US hybrid market. 3 out of 5 hybrids sold here are Japanese. The Toyota Prius and hybrid Camry are icons of fuel efficiency. Add a $4,400 tariff, and suddenly, going green is a luxury. Many will turn to used cars or less efficient trucks and SUVs. The result? Slower adoption of cleaner vehicles, more pollution, and a setback for climate goals. American automakers can't fill the gap overnight. EV production takes years to ramp up. Affordable hybrids are our best bet for mass emissions reduction right now. Tariffs threaten to dismantle this progress, punishing consumers for making eco-friendly choices. It's a self-defeating move in the fight against climate change. The planet pays the price. The impact won't stop at the factory gates. Japanese brands generated $170 billion in US revenue last year and paid over $31 billion in taxes. A downturn would starve governments of funds for schools, roads, and services. Job losses mean less spending everywhere, from diners to retail stores. A new car is often a family's second biggest purchase. If prices soar, families cut back elsewhere. The pain would spread to every corner of the economy, triggering more layoffs in unrelated sectors. Protectionist policies promise to shield one industry, but end up hurting everyone. The Liberation Day initiative could liberate thousands from their jobs and communities from stability. The web of businesses tied to autos is too vast to survive such a shock. The damage would last a generation. Could Japanese automakers really leave the US? It sounds unthinkable. They've invested $60 billion here, built deep roots and tailored cars for American drivers. But if tariffs make US production unprofitable, they may have no choice. Honda is already considering shifting production to dodge tariffs, but it's a costly, temporary fix. The real risk? A slow strategic withdrawal, closing plants, laying off workers, and focusing on friendlier markets. The signs are there: falling stocks, profit warnings, contingency plans. If the US becomes too hostile, these companies could shrink their presence, leaving shuttered factories and a gutted auto market. This isn't speculation, it's a real possibility. We could lose 500,000 jobs and nearly half our car market, all for a policy that helps no one. The cost of driving them away would be historic. Are we ready for that? The choice is ours. Imagine the worst tariffs hit, prices soar, and Japanese automakers pull back. Consumer choice shrinks overnight. The market for subcompact SUVs and hybrids collapses. Fewer options mean higher prices for everyone, new and used. Demand for used cars skyrockets, making even old vehicles less affordable. Families hold on to aging cars longer, driving up repair costs and lowering safety. Dealerships close, main streets empty, and economic activity dries up. The dream of a new car fades for many Americans. We become a nation of older, less efficient vehicles, all because of a policy that chose confrontation over cooperation. Is this the future we want? We're on the edge of a decision with massive consequences. Tariffs threaten higher prices, lost jobs, a shattered supply chain, and environmental setbacks, all to protect an industry already intertwined with Japanese companies. A total withdrawal is unlikely, but a painful reduction is real. Plant closures, layoffs, and fewer choices. The damage would last for years. The truth? We're all connected. Trying to wall ourselves off only hurts us. Japanese automakers invested in America, hired our workers, and built cars we love. To risk all that over rice is a tragic miscalculation. This is a self-inflicted wound, one we can still avoid. The question is, will we? Thanks for watching a video. Subscribe the channel Skytech-Lens for more updates.